Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be the Warriors of Chaos led by Martinius facing off against the Demons of Chaos, who shall be helmed by Bob here on the Eastern Isle Colony, and it is going to be a battle between the Mortals and Demons. Should be quite a bit of fun. Archaon versus the Great Unclean One. Pretty cool fight, potentially. Now, what I really like about this Warriors of Chaos build is it does have pretty much all magic damage. So we have Aspiring Champions here. We do also have the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch, Doom Knights of Tzeentch. So they're going to be pretty much mitigating the 20% Phys Res that demons like to enjoy. And also the tech of the Aspiring Champions I think is pretty neat because they're very strong against Mortis Engine effects. Mortis Engines do damage based on the number of entities. So the more, higher model count and unit, the more damage they're going to be taking from the big drain of the Exalted Great Unclean One. So having the tech of the Aspiring Champions to pretty much mitigate the Mortis Engine's really, really good effectiveness. And on top of their damage output against basic demon units with magic, I really like that. However, they probably will get smashed up by a Bloodletter unit simply because Bloodletters have 100 models and a huge bonus for its infantry and do hit very hard, but with a little bit of support, they might be able to hold their own. So we do have Doom Knights of Tzeentch. Doom Knights will crush Furies up in the sky, so this is going to give the Warriors of Chaos a pretty massive dominance up in the aerial fight. I mean, Demons of Chaos could contest the skies if they brought some Khorne Demons up in the air, maybe like a I don't know, but Exalted Bloodthirster, Basic Bloodthirster, something like that. Lords of Change, perhaps, but they're not quite as good of fighters. But this is going to give Walk a pretty big advantage up in the Air Force fight and allow them to surround units. So, for example, if you get some Aspiring Champions to charge some Bloodletters in the front or Demonettes or whatever, then you rear charge them with these Doom Knights. They'll crumble them really, really quickly. Same thing goes for Chaos Knights of Tzeentch. Magic damage, pretty resilient unit. If you get them in sustained combat against most demons, they will trade quite well. And Archaon, the ever-chosen Lord of the End Times, magic damage, fire damage to mitigate the Great Unclean One's healing, Burning Head, and super big style points for sure. Archaon is so incredibly rad looking. Now, over here at the forces of Bob, one of the map makers who makes many of our excellent maps on Total Tavern, he's going to be rocking the new and improved Fiends of Slaanesh, which are a pretty solid unit now. Up to the 16 models, they got the same treatment as the Doom players, and they're very, very decent. So they do diminish the stats of their opponents with the Soporific Musk. They have good armor piercing and 95 speed. So again, something like Chaos Knights, if they just charged each other, the Chaos Knights probably would win. But the Fiends of Slaanesh have the speed advantage, so they can kind of pick and choose their fights a little bit better and could get a potential rear charge or catch the Chaos Knight slipping somewhere else. Bloodletters are definitely one of the premier infantry choices against Warriors of Chaos. Plague Bearers are okay, but they do lack the armor piercing in this situation, so I think that this is the appropriate choice by Bob, bringing these Bloodletters and a couple units of pinks just to poke, keep Marauder Horsemen honest, also give some utility against flying units, and the Great Unclean One typically has been a pretty big go-to choice in this matchup against Warriors of Chaos because of the Mortis Engine effect and his, prowess as a fighter. Anyways, a little bit of fighting here on the side. It looks like a bombardment coming in from the Knights of Immolation, dropping a hot steaming payload on those Demons of Khorne. And the Surfers of Tzeentch actually do pile into the back of the Bloodletters, and now Chaos Knight's going to be coming in. Oh, this is going to be a big fight here. Tons of heavy metal coming in. Big Burning Head going to be going right down the pipe and cooking up a bunch of those demonic units. Overall, massive win for the forces of the Warriors of Chaos. Bloodletters here pretty much to the point of crumbling, very, very low. And we do also see the Nurglings here getting popped and the Fiends of Slaanesh not getting their charge bonus, getting hammered by the Doom Knights. Big win there for old Martinius, I would say. But remember, the Demons of Chaos do have a little bit more healing via the Exalted Great Unclean One, but that is going to be crumbling on the Nurglings. Chaos Knights did take some damage, which is being reflected in the damage value of Bob, but they actually haven't lost any models or really any natural HP, so their shields could regenerate. And the same goes for most of these units, right? These two Doom Knights haven't taken any, real damage, so they're just going to regenerate their shields, and that's going to be a big problem potentially for the Demons of Chaos. We'll see how cautious he is with the shields. If it were land battle, for sure, you'd probably see the players pulling those back, but in domination, you have that ticking clock of the objective, so people tend to be a little bit aggressive there. So here comes the Chaos Knights charging into the Fiends, and in the backside, we do see the Searing Doom going down in the Sour Guts, and the Doom Knights are going to be charging Sour Guts. Now, Sour Guts, when they do die, they explode and do armor-piercing damage. Oh, the Book of Secrets! Wait, what's going on? Is there a Tzeentch character? Oh, the Exalted Hero of Tzeentch! And he got the Book of Secrets, which is the Buna proc. Oh, wow. That's really, really nice. And you can see the Sour Guts are pretty close to crumbling, but, you don't want to stay in this fight any longer than you have to when the Great Unclean One is there. The Warriors of Chaos have an exponentially more mobile army, so definitely pulling back and hammering these units over here, I think, would be the appropriate play. And it does look like that's what's going to be happening here for Martinius as he reroutes his units. We see the Aspiring Champions engaging against Demonettes and against Bloodletters. Bloodletters, I think, would win that trade. and they do cost a little, 200 gold less. But with the Chaos Knights coming in, Archaon as well, it could change that up. Knights of Immolation did get a little bit beat up. Demons of Chaos actually could contest them a little bit, I suppose, maybe by using some Screamers, but I don't think they have any in their opening repertoire here. But Lord of the End Times has gotten in. Aspiring Champions getting absolutely beaten down by Bloodletters, but the Chaos Knights have rampaged in. Tzeentch Chaos Knights and Doom Knights as well, and that's going to be a big damage spike. Demons are not super tanky. The Demonettes are going to start hemorrhaging models very quickly, as will the Bloodletters. And over here, a little bit of a closer fight. There is an Exalted Hero on a Chariot. Okay, so using the 5.1 update, using the Chariots, I love to see it. And we do see the Bloodletters of Khorne starting to get cooked by those burning heads and those various other effects. And yeah, the hit and run tactics here of Martinius have been pretty brutal, and he's definitely well ahead on the value right now. It is 4.1 against 3.9, but there's been a ton of demonic instability and crumbling that hasn't been reflected. I do think that Warriors of Chaos are certainly sitting in a slightly more comfortable position. Granted, I could be wrong, but that would just be my assessment as far as it goes right now. So back in the blood fight, Chaos is holding on pretty well there, and by Chaos I mean the Demons of Chaos. The Fiends of Slaanesh bouncing back and forth and doing a good job addressing some of the Warriors of Chaos mobility. We do see the Exalted Hero of Tzeentch being surrounded a little bit by the Fiends. However, I do think they're a little bit better suited over here, supporting the Demonic Infantry. But they do bounce over, attempting to get a pick on this Warriors of Chaos character. But Chariot characters are pretty resilient. They do have a lot of HP, not a lot of HP, but they do have 120 armor and a fair amount of HP at 4.6. In Tabletop, actually, if you put a character on a Chariot, it adds the wounds profile of the Chariot to the character. So you can get some really cost-effective tanky characters in Tabletop. Archaon dropping the Searing Doom on the Sour Guts. Oh man, that's so fortunate for Martinius. So his Exalted Hero of Tzeentch on horseback, it does have the Book of Secrets item. And he got the Buna both times. So basically, it's just like he got 2 free Fate of Bunas, which is incredibly savage and very, very fortunate. So Exalted Hero of Tzeentch, though, I do like that, right? Anti-large magic damage. Demons do have a fair amount of large targets, so he's going to be pretty great in the situation. Taking a bit of a look at the objectives, we do see Objective Trace being owned here by the Demons of Chaos, and Objective Dose also being owned by the Demons of Chaos. So they have managed to take the home objective here for the Warriors of Chaos. So now the Warriors of Chaos going to be trying to fight, anchor back here on the home point, using Archaon and the Exalted Hero of Tzeentch to try and chase down the big chunkies here, and also calling in the Summoners of Rage. A very good choice. Anti-large, magic damage, armor piercing. They certainly bring quite a bit to the table, and will give you a great answer against the Fiends, which are honestly pretty problematic here for the Warriors of Chaos. The Fiends of Slaanesh are trading very well into the Doom Knights, their armor piercing and their musk, diminishing the stat line, and the demonic, or I guess not demonic, but the close enough, right? The Doom Knights of Tzeentch getting ripped to shreds by the Fiends. Really, really cool to see them be solid. I don't think Fiends are like OP by any stretch of the imagination. I do think that they're in a really good place right now and certainly do some nice work. But on the side objective, do we see any fighting? We do see the Aspiring Champions, which are pretty much a hard counter against the Nurglings. Nurglings do lack AP, so they're going to take a million years to get through that 120 armor. We do also see the Exalted Hero of Tzeentch. So Martinius going for a bit of a back pressure strategy here on this objective, just kind of like loosely fighting it with some units that are, easy to go, unnoticed here. But Archaon, in the meantime, trying to fight the Exalted Great Unclean One and company with the Summoners of Rage, and they're putting a righteous whooping right here on the Great Unclean One, as well as these Fiends. But they are going to be charged by a multitude of units, including Demonettes. Demonettes will do okay against these Summoners of Rage. But yeah, just sheer numbers is weighing these bad boys down right now, as Archaon drops another Searing Doom. Chaos Knights still fighting it out versus the Pinks. Remnants of the Doom Knights on the way in, and it is going to be some baseline Forsaken coming to bring some good shock damage. Forsaken do hit very hard at 63 weapon strength against light armor, so that's a lot of the demonic infantry to have light armor. So in a head-up fight, you wouldn't want to send Forsaken against like probably a Demonette. Oh, maybe a Demonette would be fine, but a Bloodletter would really take him to Pound Town. But as an accentuating unit coming in on the side, engaging units that are busy with something else, I think that's going to be their strong suit. So this is a big blob fight, which is probably going to favor the demons, right? You have the Mortis Engine, you have the various debuffs from the Great Unclean One, getting extra stinky all up in this game. Summoner's Rage actually getting swarmed out. Martinius does pull a bit of a value lead, and over here we do see the Exalted Hero of Nurgle, not Nurgle, Exalted Hero just dragging down these Nurglings, but there is going to be a call-in of the Shrieking Sky Rays, which is a good choice. Anti-large AP, a good counter against a Chariot-type character, so we're going to see what kind of work they can get done. Warriors of Chaos have gotten some reinforcements in, though. Archaon going to be dropping another Searing Doom as his Doom Knights come in and try and clear out these Nurglings. Man, Archaon putting a beat down here on this Exalted Great Unclean One. Man, he is getting whooped by the Lord of the End Times. 3,459 HP on Archaon, so he's hanging in there. Great Unclean One, 2,700. I believe Fleshy Abundance is on the table. And the Sword of Khorne for the Demons of Chaos. So Demons of Chaos get random abilities, basically. It's not like they get Khorne abilities or Nurgle abilities. They get one from a random god. So we got Sword of Khorne there. Granted, Fecundity might have been a little bit better. But the Great Unclean One, every time he pokes in, Archaon just spam clicking on him, doing fat damage. So right now, a big play for Bob is going to need to retreat the Great Unclean One, try and stabilize him, because if the Great Unclean One dies, I don't see too many opportunities for the Demons of Chaos to get back in this game. Here we do see a Stream of Corruption going down, and that does nail him. Granted, I suppose Demons of Chaos are really far up on points, so even without the big Chungus here, they might be able to pull off a W by just anchoring on the objectives and tar pitting for as long as they possibly can. The Exalted Great Unclean One, though, at 766 HP, and he is going to be going down. The Doom Knights, he bonks one Doom Knight on the head for Papa Nurdle on the way out. But the Marauder Horseman going to be stealing the glory from Archaon, although I'm sure Archaon will give him a loving pat on the back. But back here, we do see Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, an Exalted Hero, fighting against the Fiends of Slaanesh. Shrieking Skyrays going to be swarming in, providing their anti-large against Archaon. Archaon is on horseback, so he is a large target. That means the damage from these Shrieking Skyrays could be quite good. And now Martinius is going to be in a situation where he really needs to hustle and get these objectives. Here he does have his Chariot character who has pulled back and is going to be attempting to steal this objective. Demonettes of Slaanesh are on their way over. Looking at the value situation, definitely the Warriors of Chaos have a stronger army on the field. Archaon is still active in fighting, and even though he does have the wounded characteristic, he has taken a bit of a hit to his stats overall. Still going to be incredibly impactful with his hard-hitting magic damage, and the Aspiring Champions in Forsaken just doing a great job clearing up these very tattered demons. And looking at the battlefield, yeah, Demons of Chaos really don't have anything left. A lot of demonic instability, a lot of crumbling, and obviously I think it came down to that big Chungus getting beaten down there. That Great Unclean One just getting whooped on by Archaon, man. And his value, 3,100, not bad at all. Couple units of Turd Burglars going to be on their way in, and we do see the Exalted Hero in the Chariot. He's doing pretty good this game. He just kind of sits over here and handles these infantry. He's got, those are the Demonettes. Let's see what his value is so far. About 900, so he probably doesn't cost much more than that. An Exalted Hero on a Chariot probably costs like just over 1,000 gold, if I'm not mistaken. Could even be a little bit cheaper, but yeah, he's handling these infantry very well. He blobs them up, and then Archaon drops the fat Searing Dooms and comes in and gets his money's worth. Fiends, not Fiends, but Demonettes are pretty quick to dodge that, however, and we do see the points very heavily favoring the Demons of Chaos. But the Aspiring Champion Corps and the remnants of the Summoners of Rage should be able to firmly control Objective 3. There's not going to be much that they could call in that can deal with these Aspiring Champions. It looks like there's 29 of them in total, which is pretty heavy duty, pretty elite. And Archaon plus the Doom Knights of Tzeentch, a fresh call in here, going to make very quick work of most of these demonic units. So I really don't see much of an opportunity here for the Demons of Chaos. They're going to move in. We do see some trolls being called in, so Armored Chaos Trolls. Side objective, it looks like the Demons of Chaos going to be trying to do a ninja attempt on the back point here, so they do get some Seekers. Very fast unit, did get a cost reduction this patch, down to 900 gold, making them quite a bit better. And can the Demons of Chaos pull off some shenanigans? Can they tar pit the Warriors of Chaos here? I would be really shocked. I feel like the Warriors of Chaos are going to be able to just get in there and handle these objectives. Seekers do have okay capture weight. They are cavalry, so their cap weight is going to be 4, whereas infantry do have capture weight of 5, and this objective is going to be flipping to the Warriors of Chaos right now. So now it just comes down to holding down objective number 2. Summoners of Rage are probably going to run back there. Archaon and company get a firm grasp on this objective, and there's plenty of time. It doesn't look like it, but there is, because currently the Warriors of Chaos are going to be double capping them, or they do have them double capped. So they're only going to be getting 1 victory ticket per second. So this is over 2 minutes worth of time, essentially, for the Warriors of Chaos to get these objectives back. Nurglings do have equal capture weight to Aspiring Champions, and they get just absolutely handled in combat, so probably not going to be great for those little goblins. And the backside is going to be more Chaos Knights of Tzeentch. Summoners of Rage will lose this for sure. They're going to get swarmed and surrounded by these Seekers, but they will hold long enough and do enough damage to buy time for the Chaos Knights to get there, most likely. Subjective's kind of close to flipping. Let's see, Summoners of Rage hanging in there. And the Doom Knights of Tzeentch are going to be screaming in from the sky, surfing USA as they fly in and wreck a bunch of those Seekers. Seekers are going to be sent to the Shadow Realm, and from here, Collins from Bob are going to be Demonettes. Okay, Bob, man, really scrapping super hard here, trying to find ways to get back in this game, playing a little bit of a, whack-a-mole here, essentially, just threatening areas where the Warriors of Chaos can't cover everything, and that is going to be another Searing Doom from Archaon, probably going to be dodged. Nope, Demonettes do get caught by that, take quite a bit of damage, and another Demonette unit is going to be on its way in. A very fast capture weight unit with good AP, of shock damage for sure. I personally really like Exalted Demonettes. I feel like they're just a little bit more cost effective than the basic ones. Granted, I could be wrong about that. I haven't played Demons of Chaos in ages. They're very fun. We've got a lot of schemes, a lot of tricks. So back objective number 2 is still being owned by the Warriors of Chaos, and you can see the Slaanesh Hellstriders trying to serve as a bit of a distraction. But now that the Chaos Knights of Tzeentch have arrived, I'm pretty sure that seals the deal. It's basically just Reaganomics here, the trickle-down theory. And it's not going to work here. The Chaos Knights are going to cut them to pieces as they come in here with the characters and Aspiring Champions, and the shenanigans in the backfield have been shut down. So I believe this was the finals of a tournament we had recently in SFT, I'm not sure. But GG, well played. Really fun, unique build from the Warriors of Chaos, the Doom Knights and Aspiring Champions. That was like a super elite Chaos army, like very low model count, and it was really fun to see. It's certainly micro-intensive. and Archaon. Archaon, I think, carried that game. His 3,400 value was pretty nuts against a great Unclean One. And looking at the Chaos Knights, they did good. Aspiring Champions got smashed up, but they held their own. And for the rest of the army, the Exalted Hero of Tzeentch, man, getting the double Bunacast, little things like that, man, that could have tilted the game for sure. 2,000 value on him, 1,100 on the Chariot character. Very unorthodox build by Martinius. And looking at Bob's build, it was definitely strong. The Bloodletters always typically trade well. You know, the Great Unclean One, despite getting beaten down, still almost got 3k value. Fiends, I liked him in action. The Weakling felt like the Pinks, but if there had been a lot of Marauder Horsemen, they would have been a good answer against those. And aside from that, a lot of good units, Changebringers here, but due to the fact the Doom Knights controlled the skies, they couldn't really be called in, which was a big boon here for sure. All right, guys, that's it for today. GG, well played to these mighty champions, and we will see you all on the other side.